All right. In this video, I want to talk about how people have basically become trauma bonded to the government, kind of like a Stockholm syndrome, where people have been basically kidnapped by the government through people being birthed at hospitals and then having birth certificates and social security numbers and all this stuff to plug them into the system, where they think they need the system and become enslaved to the system. And since they are held captive and they are then taught by their captives through the government schooling system, they're not taught how to be free from the system. Right? They're told from the youth, what do you want to be when you grow up? What occupation do you want in the system? Right? They don't teach people how to build a home, maintain the home, have a garden, how to farm, how to fish, gather, and hunt. None of that, right? Some basic things there to survive without the government. No. They're not going to teach you that, and they're not even going to teach you how to do things in the system properly as well, right? Like understand wages and some finances with inflation and fair pay and how to do the taxes and why the taxes and how much the taxes and where the taxes go. No, they're not going to do all that, right? Because they want you ignorant and dependent on them. And through that, people have been captive by the government their whole lives, that they've been trauma bonded to them with this Stockholm syndrome, where they have been forced to say the pledges of allegiance because they're told to do this as children. You know, isn't that strange, having a child making a pledge of allegiance to something that they don't even know what the hell is going on? But from a youth, you're already having them take a pledge of allegiance to something, right? And if they don't, they're going to be the ostracized one, right? There's some evil traitor when they're just being cautious about, hey, what am I actually pledging allegiance to, right? That's very manipulative, right? Why don't they have adults pledge allegiance? Why do they have children do it? Right? It's very manipulative. Very manipulative. But children have grown up with this, thinking that we're a brave, free country that fought against being under the slavery of the king without having representation, even though we pay taxes. And now we pay 10 times more taxes than we ever did to England. Probably even more than that. Yeah, we just are compliant with it, right? Even though the left doesn't represent me, the right doesn't represent me, nobody in politics represents me at all, right? But, well, I would imagine the same thing could apply to you, yet we're supposed to be paying taxes to that and just submit to that. And now they're doing this trauma bonding where they're basically telling you, hey, yeah, we're all a bunch of PDF files that mess with children and put them into trafficking and try to get adrenochrome out of them, or turn them into MK Ultra tools in some way, shape, or form, right? Different things they'll do to them. Or maybe they'll put them into the food processing plants to turn them into sausage and put them into fast food, right? And hide the evidence, and to get the people to become basically compliant with what they've done because you've partaken of the same crime, basically, to basically get you to not speak out because of your own conscience condemning yourself, even though you're ignorant of it, right? And then while they tell you that they are these things, while they expose, the e-files there, they'll turn around and Start messing with the dollar, messing with the value of the dollar and inflation. So you're distracted by that. And then nobody does anything about all the stuff going on in these e-files. And then they'll talk about the e-files again. And then they'll start talking about alien disclosure, right? Distracting you again from it. And nobody does anything about what's going on with these e-files, right? And then they start talking about the e-files again. And then they'll go to war with another nation, getting you all distracted. And then they'll bring up the e-files again once everybody's distracted from it. And they're doing this process because it's a process of trauma bonding where it's crazy to think that the nation you loved is doing this sick stuff to people and that there's no justice. No one's doing anything about it. And then you are slowly being conditioned to accept it. That not only is the government like this, but that nobody's going to do anything about it, and that you're just going to sit there and take it. And then they will keep doing this until it's very much ingrained. And they're also doing this because they have us very much divided, right? Where Democrats and Republicans will butt heads on pro-life, pro-choice, right? And they'll fight on that tooth and nail. But then when the government is doing horrible things to these children that both parties claim to care about, they're not going to do anything about it because that means they would have to join together to do something about it. So the government gets away with it because it has thoroughly divided us against each other where we can't join forces to do anything about it because we would rather fight against each other about stupid nonsense about people's sexuality or race or religion or what have you. And because of that, we allow the government to get away with the evil things that it's doing because the only way we can do anything about it is if we put our differences aside, even if it's temporarily, to take care of the problem. And ultimately, they know that they can keep doing this because people are trauma bonded to them. They're in Stockholm Syndrome. And if anybody starts coming together to do anything about it, they can easily just turn it into civil war. Right? They can get everybody fighting against each other and wear themselves out killing each other instead of them. So they're not worried about it. Right? It's just this one big manipulation, allowing them to get away with it. Because is anybody going to do anything? Are you going to quit your job or go on strike until something's done about it? Are you going to organize with anybody else, especially if they're from a different political view than you, to do something about it? Are you willing to do anything about that, make any kind of sacrifice to do anything about it? Or you just want to piss and moan and have somebody else do something about it? Ultimately, that's what they're counting on, is you to do nothing because they're putting on a show. They're putting on a show to make things look real bad because they are. But it's to get you to want the world system as it is to be torn down. They want you to have it tear down because then they can do it. Because if they tore it down right now, which is what they want to do, they want to tear down the world system as it is so that they can bring about a new world system. But nobody wants that. But if they can get you to want the system as it is torn down, then they can tear it down and you will cheer them for doing it. Right? So if they expose all the corruption in the system or start corrupting it even worse, then you don't want it anymore. Then when they tear it down, you're going to cheer instead of complain. And then the solution, which is probably a one world government, you don't want that. But since it's better than the corrupted system we got, right? The corrupted system where they're saying it's run by corrupted man. But we'll have a one world order run by AI, which is pure and innocent and isn't corrupted, even though it's made by corrupted man. So that's a foolish thing to think. But it'll sound so nice because it's better than what we have, right? You've heard people say that when it comes to America, and they'll complain about it, and they'll say things like, well, it's the best system we got. So when people complain about, oh, this new system coming, that's the same thing they'll say. Well, it's the best thing we got. Because they're just compliant fools who are weak and cowardly and slothful and lazy and just want a quick, easy fix where they don't got to do much of anything. Right? That's what they want. And yeah, that's about that. Thank you for your time and attention. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.